our episode is kind of encouraging us to do is that you don't fully know what the other person is thinking.
Yeah.
And that curiosity is an important way to make sure that you can fully understand and not just assuming.
Like if we're talking about like the more curious we get with each other, the more we know each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so maybe that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing swell.
Good.
What's going on?
Over the last week, I think it's been a week, yeah. I have been thinking about and noticing something that you shared with me when we were talking through, I don't know if it was really a disagreement, but kind of a point when we weren't quite on the same page.
We were in a communication breakdown.
Okay, that's a good frame. So I thought maybe we could start back there and talk about kind of how we got to it, the aha that you brought forward, then maybe how we can move that into our day-to-day life.
So you're talking about we got back from Sweden
We did?
and we were driving home
Yes.
and we had to take a different route because of road closures,
Yep, we did.
right? And I was driving.
Through downtown St. Paul during rush hour
Yep.
on a Friday.
Yep. And what do you think my mindset was at that moment?
Well, I think you were a little stressed out
A little bit. Not too bad.
and trying to adjust.
So anyway, not to make it a guessing game, I'll just say it. My mindset was, I just need to get home. I really want to get home. It's time to get home. Let's get home, right?
Yep.
So that's where my mindset was.
Yes.
And then what did you say?
I said, I'm a little hungry.
Yep. And that was it.
Yep.
There was a big pause. And I responded with exasperation.
Yes.
Basically, like, if I didn't go, oh,
For sure you did.
my body language did for sure, right?
And I was kind of like, but I'm just hungry. I want to get something fast. We have no
Right.
groceries at home,
Right.
or very few. at
So
home.
I shut you down.
Yes,
You didn't feel heard.
correct.
And I didn't either, because in my head, all I'm saying is, can't we just get home? I really want to get home, right?
Yes.
And so then, and we were tired because we were traveling for, I don't know, 17 hours.
Long time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of like, that's the situation, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, like, I don't know if there's anything else to tell about that, except for like both of us felt like we weren't being heard.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I felt that I didn't voice well is that I wanted my hunger need to be taken care of,
Right.
and I felt like maybe I couldn't, or we
Yeah.
get home and I would just take care of myself
Yeah.
and let you fend for yourself then. It was kind of like, fine,
Right.
you just
And
deal with it.
yeah. And then, and like after the fact kind of thing, you were saying, you know, well, I'm just trying to say, like, I need to eat soon. And I'm like, well, you didn't say that. You said you were thinking you were hungry kind of
I
thing.
said I was hungry.
Yeah. And that's all you said. So then I started doing the thing that I'm trying to not do.
Yeah.
I was anticipating what that meant
Right.
because you only gave me so much information.
Right. And when we debriefed it the next morning,
Yeah.
what was maybe kind of comical is that I was like, yeah, I said that. And I was very flexible in how that looked,
Like what that meant.
what that meant.
And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't say anything else. So I was filling in the blanks and I was like, oh, she's going to want to stop soon. She's going to want to stop way before I want to. She's going to go sit down. And that's going against my inner monologue of, I really just want to get home and get a shower, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't voice that.
No.
I just said no. I
You
didn't
even say no.
no.
You seemed
You could,
super disappointed.
all of my body language was saying, like, I
Yes.
can't believe you just asked to get one of your basic needs met.
Yes.
And because I think at the time, all I could focus on was what I needed, right?
Yep.
And so like as we were going over it, you know, the next morning or whenever, what I realized was, oh, I showed up to that situation with no curiosity. And that's something I'm supposed to be working on And I literally have it written down on one of my notebooks. Don't lead with assumptions, be curious. And I'm like, oh, I completely failed at that. But at least I could see it, right?
Yeah.
And so then we continued to talk through, and I was like, okay, I need to be more curious, and I need to, like, I should have asked a follow-up question of like, well, what does that mean when you say I'm hungry? Like, time-wise, can we get this far, or can we get into our home state of Wisconsin?
Right.
We just kind of talked through it, right?
Yeah.
But the main thing was, I realized, like, oh, I was not coming from the strength of curiosity. I was coming from filling in the blanks based on data that I've had from the past that tended to lean towards you wanting to stop sooner, and something that would take more time than I felt like I wanted to give to like a detour from home, right? So anyway, it was interesting to be able to pull back out of like maybe like the emotional response I had at first, and to sit with it for a little bit and actually think of, okay, I can get in tune with how I'm feeling about it and why I reacted the way I did, and it's not how I wanted to react. But then I have to give time and space to, well, why did Laura say what she said? And then what I want to do is be like, okay, why wasn't I more curious about why she was saying what she said in the moment?
Right.
That's a muscle I really need to work on, or I really want to work on, especially in those situations. Like that situation where we're tired and hungry. Like that's when we need to have that muscle of being like, oh, this is my default reaction, not no.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that, although it felt maybe stressful to like go through that together, that aha of leading with curiosity has stuck with me.
Yeah.
Throughout the week. Even in just some really small moments, it has come up. So over the last week, I've been noticing how useful leading with curiosity can be. So this morning is, I think, a good example. I've been working on a book project around leadership, and I thought I was going to do lots of writing when we were in Sweden, and I didn't. Because
you're so funny.
I know. I always have these.
How many books did you bring with you?
I brought 3 books with me.
Did you read any?
Yeah, I read one.
Part of it, you mean, or a book?
I read the whole book. It was
really?
it was a travel book on Sweden.
Oh,
so I felt like time was of the essence.
Okay, so anyway, back to your. I was just pointing out your ambition.
Yeah, I know. I also
I have it too, but
yeah, I also brought my Kindle. I was going to bring a whole bunch of articles for work too. I did leave those at home. So growing, maybe?
I had my iPad with, and I don't think I opened it more than twice.
No. Yeah, I think the biggest thing I tried to do was to complete my journal each day. So I had a good sense of what we did each day.
Yeah.
Which was a win for me. But
okay.
So getting back to what resonated with me today, I have been working on writing the last week and a half.
Since we got back.
Yeah. And I've been doing daily writing and coming up with, okay, what prompt might I be able to get some of the ideas out of my head and onto the paper? And that's been going fairly well. You and I were talking this morning, and I think you could sense in me, I was getting a little, I don't know if it's closed off or like just a little
overwhelmed, I think, is what I've actually seen you write about. I think I even said, I'm like, I'm starting to feel that same energy of when we were driving back from the airport, where we're not quite communicating, or you're not quite saying everything that you're thinking. Like, is like, I'm hungry, and then there should be a comma or in our lips where you're like, and so this and this and this and this. You know, like, where, because like from that conversation, one of my main things that I wanted you to hear was, so I don't have to anticipate, I need you to tell me more information.
Yeah. Because
I'm so used to filling in the blanks so that I'm alert and prepared for what might happen, because I don't always have all the information, right? And so I just kind of could feel that maybe tension of you holding back and not quite saying something, right?
Yeah. So when it came down to it. Some of it was I didn't quite know why I was either, so I needed to get curious myself about why was I feeling a little low energy about it or hesitant maybe about it. And as we talked, I was realizing I'm really clear about what this step is in my project. This step is I need to work on writing, creating a practice, finding my voice, and create content so I have things that I can edit and make into a really cool book. And at the same time, I was starting to feel very much like, how much time will this actually take? And do I have the skills to pull this off?
Right.
Because I can write. I like working in Canva and developing things, but is Canva too limited for what I want to do? I'm not sure I can make the product the way I want it to be. I can make the content, but can I get it to the place where it has a consistent voice that I want it, like how I want it to sound?
Yeah, you were starting to worry. And I think in our conversation, you would start a sentence with, like, I'm worried that the design's not going to be good enough. I'm worried that this and this and this. And I was just like, okay. And what I knew you weren't saying was, I think I said this out loud, so just thinking it was, I'm like, I feel like you're at the point where you need my help or you need help, and that you forget that I am your partner that loves to support you in the things that you're trying to do. It lights me up, right?
Yeah.
And I said a version of that.
You did.
So I just had to remind you, like, okay, you're doing that thing where you don't want to bother me. You don't want to be the thing that's stopping me from doing, quote unquote, my thing. And then I just had to remind you, it was like, well, part of my thing is supporting you in what you're seeking to do, right? So I was like, we just need to communicate and just got to be upfront. And the thing with this project is, like, we're just going to figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Like, just one step at a time. And it's easy for me to say, well, don't worry about that step yet. Just write it down. And then when it's time to knock that step out, that's when we'll deal with what we don't know, kind of thing. But like, I can go down rabbit holes on certain things.
Yeah.
While you're doing other things or whatever. But so, yeah, I was definitely sensing like a little bit of overwhelm in the uncertainty of what it all might entail.
Yes.
Kind of weighing on your shoulders.
It definitely was feeling a little heavy because I want it to be, because it's a reflection of me. And so when I was thinking through, so why is it that this feels heavy right now? Why might it be that I'm reacting this way? Again, it's that kind of being curious, but it is that I think I came up with, and I said to you, I'm worried that it's not going to be good enough based on my skill set. And I'm glad you were curious, because I don't think I realized, I think I said, I don't want to bother you.
Right.
With having to take my project on, because you have projects of your own. I don't think I was super curious in that moment. I think I stated a fact of my truth. I was saying, like, no, Keith, you're doing your own projects, which you will do regardless, right? But I'm like, no, you have projects, and so therefore the answer is you don't have time. So I really wasn't all that curious about whether or not.
Yeah, you didn't say that out loud. You were saying that in your head.
Yeah.
And I could tell. You were saying things that you thought to be true. And I could tell that you were falling into that mode of not wanting to bother me.
Right.
And I just, I pointed out, like, you could tell from my body language and the way that I was talking about your project that I'm excited about it. Yeah. So that getting it out in the open and not letting it sit in our heads, right? Like, yeah, it's the same thing. And then you being able to be curious and to ask yourself, oh, well, why am I worried?
Yeah. I will say one of the pieces I did stumble upon is if I have to depend on someone else to help me get some of this done, then I don't have control over the timeline anymore.
That creates complexity.
It does.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, why does that matter to me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was asking a lot of curiosity questions to myself, it sounds like here, as I'm like unpacking.
Mm-hmm.
But what matters to me is I don't like to have projects that just float out there and never finish, And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I said, I'm like, you're a very patient person. And you're like, yeah, with people, but not with projects. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's true.
Which is true, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've hit on that before. And it's something I think our approach is a little different. Like I'm overly patient with the execution of a project. And sometimes I'm not as patient with people.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's very interesting how we kind of have mirroring.
Yeah. It's an interesting tango that we dance with each other.
It is for sure. For sure. I want to come back to curiosity just a little bit.
Come back to it? It's all we've been
Well,
talking
it's
about.
all we've been talking. You're right. It's all we've been talking about. But so because you brought up curiosity and how you're trying to lead with curiosity more. And throughout the week, I've noticed curiosity in various conversations, or like the conversation we just talked about, unpacking my worry about my current project that I'm working on. And even when we were in the purple space community today, I noticed curiosity in multiple different threads. So we're kind of using curiosity in our relationship. There was an article that I found from the BBC about curiosity that was published a couple of years ago. And they talk about how important it is in relationships, but also in the workplace. And that curiosity really does help with engagement and well-being, as well as creativity.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense. And I've thought a lot about curiosity and leadership, just how important that quality is. More often than not, in the roles that I've had, it's very easy, or I want to say almost a lazy way to lead, is to take everything on face value and say, okay, that's what it is. We're going to move forward. So, and I'm always thinking about this in relation to people's behavior or people's actions or lack of action. If somebody doesn't get a project done on time, I have seen leaders say, okay, well, that person isn't reliable. And so we're going to not give projects to that person that are important anymore until they can prove themselves. Or maybe instead of having that person do the project, we're going to pair them up with someone and they're going to do a team project now. But it's kind of sometimes the management approach is linked directly to what's been observed and not always digging deeper into why might that be the case.
So it sounds like avoidance in a way.
I don't know if it's...
We're going to avoid giving this person something because I'm not being curious about why this didn't happen before.
Right.
So, I mean, like allocating another person to partner with them, like that's allocating resources in a different direction than you possibly ought to do. The things that I am trying to steer away from, I said assumptions, right? So like filling in the blanks.
Yep.
And then also the other thing I do when I'm not curious is I avoid.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's coming to mind. So I can see how a manager might be avoiding confronting or meeting that person that maybe needs a little consulting with about why they're not meeting certain expectations or whatever.
Yeah.
They're changing certain things. So they're doing something, but they're avoiding maybe the difficult conversations, that you talk about that are very important in leadership roles or in all relationships. if you want them to be successful, you need to be able to have these difficult conversations. So that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I think you're spot on with that. Because there's two layers of different curiosity that I'm seeing that could be helpful in these moments. One is with the staff member themselves, of figuring out, what's going on, what skills maybe do they need that they didn't have. Do they maybe not understand something? There's something that's going on outside of the walls of the organization that might be impacting their ability. There's a whole host of different things. And I also wonder sometimes, is it the leaders not wanting to get curious about what part of it do they own?
Mm-hmm.
There have been a number of times that I've been working with individuals, they've done a project, it hasn't turned out the way it ought to have turned out or expected that it would turn out. Reflection is one of the most important things I think leaders can do. And being able to reflect and say, gosh, I wasn't really clear about what does done look like. I wasn't really clear about what does the outcome I'm seeking to have of this project and the timing of it. I was not clear about that. It was in my head.
Right. You're saying instead of simply getting upset that they didn't accomplish their project or task the way you thought they ought to, you can also take some ownership and be like, where maybe did I show up the best to help them accomplish what I was hoping they would?
Yeah.
Or I expected them to, right? Yeah. I mean, that's you being curious about where the communication breakdown was in that, and then being curious about, okay, maybe why did they not execute to the level that I expected?
Yeah. I remember, and this is when I was a really new leader. And I don't even know if I was a leader. I was a staff member, but
You're always been a leader.
I was supervising students, student workers.
I prepared you to have kids, I bet.
That was pretty good. But I remember having a staff member, and I wanted them to create these like boxes. So when student clubs get together, they would have a box they could check out from this area. And they would have markers and Post-its and glue sticks and different things that they could make posters and projects and different things to advertise their clubs or for club activities.
Sounds like a craft box.
It was kind of like a craft box. Okay. Absolutely. But I was so excited. I bought this huge pack of markers, that like Crayola markers that could then be divided into 12 different boxes. But the way that this package came, it laid it out with 12 red all together, 12 orange, 12 blue, 12 green, so all the colors were in the same things. It wasn't a set of different colored markers that you could just plop in. So you would have to take one from each of these buckets. Well, I asked one of the students to put these boxes together and to take the markers and separate them and put them into boxes.
I can sense where this is going.
Can you? And I remember coming back at the end of that shift, and the student showed me, oh, look, this is how I put it together. And I looked, and one of the crafty boxes had all the reds. One of the crafty boxes had all the oranges. One of the crafty boxes had all the greens. And I said, oh, thank you. I sat there for a second, and I was like, that wasn't right. And so I'm pretty sure I stayed after work and fixed it.
Yeah.
And just did it and didn't mention it again.
That's hilarious.
Looking back now, I was not curious about what did I not share to help them understand that I wanted one of each color in each box. I assumed that, right?
When you saw it wasn't the way you expected, did you simply go to like, what were they thinking? Or did you instantly be like, oh, I wasn't clear? I
think it was a little bit of both. I'm like, why would they have done that?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I probably didn't say it, but why would I have had to? And so it's
because different brains think differently, right?
Exactly.
We know that now.
Exactly.
As we're a little older.
It was one of those things where I really understood in the moment that what was in my head was not how I communicated it to be done. What I wish I would have done is instead of stayed after work and fixed it and put, the markers in different colors in each box, what I wish I would have done is said, "Oh, thank you." And I don't think I was clear. I'm sure I didn't say this, but if you could go back, what I was hoping for was to have one color of each in each box and have them do that, because I also didn't give them that opportunity to learn that either.
Yeah.
Right. It was one of those as a young, professional, I didn't have the skill at that point to say, thank you, reflect, oh gosh, I didn't say, and I wasn't clear about what I needed to say.
Yeah.
To get this project to turn out the way I thought done should look like. And I also didn't get curious about why, I didn't get curious about any of it. I just said, oh shoot, and I just fixed it.
I'm giggling because I probably would have showed up and I would have been like, what's the deal with all the same color markers in each box? And I would have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily the right way to show up, but I think I would have instantly been like, what are you doing?
What's interesting though, we would both show up with like a assumption, like a what?
Yeah.
And drawing conclusions.
I would just voice it.
Like you would voice like, why did you do it that way? Who would do it that way?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, even when I was younger, yes, I would have maybe been a little more gruff, I guess.
Yes. And I showed up of oh, and then in my head, shoot, that's not how I wanted it, but I can fix it later. And then out loud, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Not exactly helpful.
Yeah. It's an interesting experience.
Yeah.
So it's been on my mind a lot too for the last week or so. I'm trying to lean into being a little more curious about how I'm spending my days and like what am I getting done. And like we always talk about how I don't want to spend so much time editing the podcast because if I can get that shorter, I have more time to do other things, right? And then I have time to help you with the things that you need help with, and you don't have to worry about, oh, he doesn't have enough time, and why would I bother him, right? Because I want to help you. And one of the things that I am leaning into is writing every day. And like I've done before in the past, like I journal most days, but I go in like spurts where like I just write something and then I just post it to like my blog publicly, right? Like not that anybody sees it. I don't usually share it, but it's more of just something that I want to do. So I've been doing it for the last couple of days. And the first one that I've posted in a long time is approach with curiosity. Instead of assumptions or avoidance, lean into curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's part of me trying to create like a daily habit where I'm experimenting with how does it feel to be on the hook to have to post something every day or to sit down like you're doing. You're sitting and writing and working on these themes and these ideas for leadership for your book. And I mean, I know I have at least a book in me.
Yeah.
And that it's something that I think about and I want to do. So how would I get curious and see how it feels if I start working towards that and on those types of things? So I got some clarity in a session I had with some people this week that helped me see that curiosity is helping me gain some clarity. And vice versa. Like if I can get clear about what I want, I can be more curious about those things. And it's just kind of a generative process where it helps keep me moving forward. And so yeah, I've been working on that. And I think the other thing that kind of pairs with that is spontaneity. Not instantly assume one thing or avoid something because it's different or new. It leads to more spontaneity and leaning in to being curious about, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try and see what happens. So that's been on my mind for the last, couple weeks too.
Yeah, I could tell. So yesterday, we had a moment. So it's been a long weekend.
What?
You're like, what are you going to talk about? We have a long weekend. So I was home on a Friday and off. So when I'm off work.
Completely throws my days off. I don't know what day it is.
It does. Well, and I also am not super great at sitting still.
No.
So
Is this about you falling asleep and having a nap?
No.
That was so funny.
No, that
'Cause
was maybe a result.
you were so rambunctious and you were texting me while I was busy, like working on some things. And you're like, hey, you want to go do this? You want to go do this? And I'm like, I'm trying to be spontaneous, but I'm literally in the middle of working on something and my back is still sore. So I kind of want to do this, but I'm sorry. You're like, no. And then also, like 2 hours later, I walk upstairs and you're sleeping.
I took a nap.
You got all worked up and ambitious, and then you just decided to take a nap.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I think so. I went grocery shopping on the 4th of July.
Oh, gosh.
So I got that done. And so then I felt like I could conquer anything. So I wanted to run to Menards and see if they had basil seeds and cucumber plants. So I was like, well, maybe Keith wants to go on a day date with me.
Yeah.
And so I just messaged you, and I can be pretty spontaneous. And you're like, wasn't expecting that. I'm like, yeah, me either. It just kind of came up.
Well, and I was in the middle of working on the website and having a dialogue with AI about how to do things. And I'm like, if I stop right now, I'm going to forget what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I had some practice saying no.
Which is good. But I could tell just because we were doing it via text.
Yeah.
And I could tell you're like, it's not that I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, and I finally just said, hey, you married an Aries who's impulsive and has an idea and just wants to go and get some stuff done. And if you don't want to, that's okay. I don't feel bad.
I think I responded with like that sad bowing face.
You did.
And you're like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, I feel bad.
You're like, no, it's fine. And then, I got that on my system. Like, maybe I don't want to drive to Menards just for a pack of basil seeds.
Maybe I'll take a 2-hour nap in the afternoon.
Well, then I was sitting and like, well, maybe I'll write some more. I'm like, gosh, I'm really tired. So instead of trying to power through, maybe I could just sleep. So I slept.
Yeah.
It was something, Keith. Anyway, you were saying that you're trying to be more spontaneous. And so I could feel that in your text, that there was some assumption you were making even just about your responses. I'm trying to be more spontaneous. I'm saying no to something that Laura is spontaneous about right now and feeling bad about that.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I was dealing with. I almost typed back, I'm just downstairs and you can come talk to me so that I can understand the nuance of how much you want me to go. And then I'm like, wait, if she comes down here and I see her face, I will do whatever she wants me to do. Like, you'll be able to really convince me to do whatever it is you want. So I deleted that and I didn't send it.
You're like, I don't need her to come and be like, go to Menards, find some, I don't know, hand tools. What's at Menards you like to shop for?
Everything. They have everything I want. It's dangerous to go to Menards without a plan.
Kind of like it's dangerous for me to go to Target without a plan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
The thing is like, I also enjoy wandering around stores sometimes. Not on a holiday.
Not on a holiday.
Not at a grocery store on a holiday where most people are trying to think about what can we eat on this holiday. We all need to go to the grocery store at the same time and buy everything.
Forgot to bring something for the potluck.
But like a random Thursday evening, an hour before Target closes, I'll wander around and people watch and see if there's anything on clearance or something. You never know what you might find. That's okay with me.
Exciting deal.
We grew up going to malls,
Oh, yeah.
It's always like you get some steps in, and back when there were bookstores.
That was like our date night. We would go to supper and then we go to
Borders. Yeah. There was a really cool Borders by our apartment.
Yep.
And
we did that a lot.
Yeah. There was a Half Price Books over there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was always fun.
Mm-hmm. When the kids were little, we watched a lot of the cartoon Curious George.
Oh, yeah, that was on a lot.
It was on a lot. And how much it valued, or I don't know if it put a value on it, but it maybe tried to help a lesson that sometimes curiosity can get you in trouble but oftentimes it helps you uncover something pretty special or take you on an adventure you don't anticipate.
I just remember when he accidentally did exactly what he was supposed to do with the maple syrup by knocking the butter in while it was starting to boil.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
It taught me that. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
With maple syrup.
Yeah.
It was kind of like he was always trying to do the right thing, but then his curiosity always got the better of him, and he was kind of on a side quest.
Mm-hmm.
But then it all kind of fit together.
That's called good writing.
Yes.
Well, I mean, having the intention of being curious doesn't mean everything's going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that this is the posture I want to have, and even if the outcome isn't desirable, this is how I want to show up and how I want to approach my life. It makes for me, it makes like our interactions better if I try to not show up assuming something about your intent.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm more curious about why is Laura saying this right now, or why did she just ask me that? And not to overthink, but to actually be like, okay, what's in it for her? Instead of, she just said this to me, what does that make me feel?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to focus on that. I need to focus on, she said something. Okay, so what's going on there? And if I need a clarifying question, I should just ask it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do you mean you're hungry? Like just getting right back to that. It doesn't take that much work. It's just different. So the real work is me shifting my posture to being inquisitive and actually asking the thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a simple switch.
Mm-hmm.
It takes effort, but I think it's worth it. 10 or 12 years ago, if I showed up the same way I did when you said you're hungry, I don't know if I would have been able to get to the place where I said, oh, okay, what I just realized is that I was not showing up well, and I filled in a bunch of blanks because I didn't get enough information. And what that did was that shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
It made you not feel seen or heard, and created like an atmosphere of stagnation in the communication. Whereas like now I'm just like, I kind of did that, but in a relatively short amount of time, I realized, oh, I am not being curious. I didn't ask any follow-up questions, and I simply assumed that what she was saying meant A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
And just me being able to be aware of that and to say it to you, that created a connection between us again, where you're like, okay, so he's reflected and he understands part of what happened, right? So that can sound like a lot going through it, and it can feel like maybe a lot, especially if you're hungry or tired. But over the last week, it's allowed me to be more patient and to show up in a better way when I'm approaching conversations with, okay, tell me more. Or, okay, you just said that, but I'm not quite sure what you're saying. So can you give me a little more information? It allows me to like not be computing so much. It's me giving a little more energy to being curious allows me to not give so much energy to fill in the blanks, and it burns a lot more energy. I'm just noticing that in the short term, so I'm very interested to see if that continues and like it's like exponentially better if I continue on the same path.
Yeah. I really like what you said about curiosity being able to help you have more patience, because I think that curiosity helps me as well show up as patient.
Mm-hmm.
Even, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're talking to someone and they're only talking about their things. It's just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to add.
We've had many conversations, Laura.
Thanks, Keith.
I'm kidding.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
I've definitely given you that look before, like, get to the point.
Yeah. What is it? One of our favorite shows.
Start later.
Yeah. What's the show again?
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
You just made me
I did.
make the episode explicit now.
I did, sorry. But when David says to Moira, nope, start later. Later. Leaving later. But if you're in a conversation,
it's one-sided conversation.
It's a one-sided conversation. Yeah. Like I know my mom used to talk to me about, if you have like a ball and you have a conversation, you throw the ball to one person and they talk for a bit, and then it's kind of like throwing it back to you, and then you get to talk a little bit and you kind of share the ball. Well, like these are the conversations where somebody takes the ball and just like hugs it. But I have found in those situations, something that works for me to help myself calm down mentally is to ask questions, which sounds counterintuitive, because if you're the one asking questions, you're just prompting more talking, right? Or more sharing.
Yeah.
But even if I know I'm not going to be talking about myself or sharing any of myself right now, but I can share the part of me that's curious about various pieces. So that helps me bring down the temperature for myself if I find myself in a conversation that feels very one-sided.
Yeah.
Like this conversation is just going to be about me trying to figure out more about what's being talked about right now.
That sounds like a good way to stay engaged when that's happening. It also makes me think of when there's time and space for me, I would maybe go into reflection and be curious, okay, why was I feeling the way I was feeling when, why did I feel like I was being boxed out and I wasn't getting to say anything, and turning that curiosity on myself also. For me, it would probably be like, oh, because I had something I wanted to say and, I needed somebody to listen to me, right? Like, or whatever.
Yeah, that's good, because sometimes I do think to myself, well, I guess maybe I'm not sharing anything either. So maybe that's why this individual is talking more.
Right. Or because it could be like, instead of the narrative being like, oh, that was rude of them to keep going on and on, maybe upon reflection, I might be like, oh, I was tired and hungry.
Or I gave them nothing to work with.
Yeah. And then it's more of like, okay, so I can own that, not perpetuate a cycle of being cranky at somebody or whatever, you know, like, it's good. Like it goes, I think it's both ways, is like, be curious about the other person and be curious about yourself and how you're showing up,
Yeah. I'm just curious, how are you feeling about this topic right now?
It feels fine. It's always a little weird when we talk about like one thing as a theme. It always feels like maybe we're like beating a dead horse or like being repetitive. But it doesn't, like, that's a worry of mine.
Okay.
When we kind of have a preconceived idea of like, hey, let's talk about this topic versus a topic emerges.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily feeling that way about what we talked about.
Yeah.
Why are you asking?
I'm just asking because
See how I'm being curious?
Yeah, I saw that. I think I'm asking because I feel like it's a simple concept that we've talked about, a few examples in different ways that we think of it or have kind of come to think of it through our conversation. Sometimes I think simple's okay, but I also want to make sure that you're not feeling like it's boring.
No, it doesn't feel boring. The things that are simple that we continue to come back to, like you could play like a bingo game with our episodes where we talk about awareness and communication and self-care. And I feel like I've even like maybe titled one of our episodes with curiosity in the title or something before.
Yeah.
Like there's no finish line when it comes to a lot of this stuff. It's constant work,
Yeah.
And so all these reminders, and to be honest, the concept of actively being curious on purpose is pretty new to me. We're innately curious creatures, but we're also habit and pattern driven. And as I've aged, I think I lean more heavily on my routines and my habits and my patterns. And part of that is very intentional so that I can be successful in the things that I'm seeking to do. But the thing that suffered is that natural curiosity that I maybe approached life with when I was younger. So for me, it may sound trite, but being curious, especially with you, is something that needs like a little needs a little more emphasis.
Yeah.
And I need to dedicate some energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good that we talked about it.
That's good. I will say I've noticed a shift in some of the things we talk about and how we interact with each other, because I've noticed you showing up being more curious instead of assuming one way or the other, which has made me feel more seen.
Good.
In a lot of ways.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Because I don't know, sometimes when you're talking to people or I'm talking to you, right? And I get to a place and people are like, oh, well, you want to do that because of X, Y, or Z. I was like, no, that's not really true. And I was like, come on. We know that's true. It's like, no, that's not true. You know, some of that is like, well, is he filling in the blanks, and or is my truth not true? So here's an example of a time that maybe you have assumed I meant something instead of me being curious about it. And so say I mentioned wanting to go to a Twins game, and you said, well, how about you do that with child one? And I said, oh, okay. And then you're like, well, but she probably wants me to go instead. And maybe she doesn't want to just do it with child one. And so maybe we should get 4 tickets. Should we be getting 4 tickets? I'm like, no, I'm honestly okay going with child one. And you're like, well, you're saying that now, but are you, so it's kind of like those things. And I've noticed that not just with you, but other people where they might say, but when is she going to change her mind? Or when is it not going to be the same? I guess I don't know where I'm going with that. I think I'm just saying that it's been really refreshing to feel like I can say what I actually mean and need and not have somebody tell me, no, I don't actually mean that.
Right. So okay, so this brings up something that I don't know if we've talked about it on here at all or recently, or maybe just between you and I. I'll fill in the blanks because I want to anticipate what might happen. And it's like that hypervigilance of mine, right? So that I don't get surprised and that I can be prepared so that like I don't get startled or whatever, let's say. And then you have this thing where you maybe hold back what you're thinking or want to say. And sometimes I show up in a way that makes you have to do that. And when you do hold back or don't say the thing out loud, then I fill in the blanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like we feed into each other perfectly imperfect, right? Kind of thing. Like that was part of what came out of our conversation about how I need to be more curious and ask questions. But I also want you to know that I want you to give me more information so that I don't have to fill in the blanks. And both can be true of you feeling comfortable telling me what you mean and what you want. And I need to be comfortable receiving it and being curious instead of thinking I know what you mean.
Right.
Right. And so when I'm not being curious, I need more information. And when you're not giving more information, I need to be curious.
Or more information or hiding what I really want. Like that's on me.
Right.
And I think I've gotten better about that over the years, where I normally, I normally don't say one thing and mean another or hope another will happen anymore. Like flowers are a good example, right? Where I used to say like, oh, you don't need to buy me flowers because they're just going to die and it's a waste of money. When in my heart, I'm like, no, I really would like him to get me flowers once in a while.
Yeah.
It makes me feel special. It makes me feel like he's romantic. I feel really
Yeah.
like seen and loved when you buy me flowers. And so it was probably this year that I was just like, this is my honest truth. And you're like, okay. And I said, well, I think about it all the time. I'm like, you know what? If you think about it, just do it. And you've been doing that, and it has been fantastic.
Yeah.
You even sent me a text before I got home this weekend, and you said, I want you to know the flowers look terrible, but I was thinking of you, but I didn't want to spend money on flowers that were gross.
Oh, they looked horrible.
Yeah. And I'm like, it was just nice to know that you had thought of it. You took the time to tell me you thought of it.
There were only like 3 bouquets left in the 17 little water pots. Oh, there's a reason these are sitting here still. I'm not paying for these.
You're like, no, thank you.
Being a little practical, but
that's made a big difference too for me.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
Well, I always say no, and then I add something.
Uh-huh.
So how would I try something different? How would I say, the only thing I would add is just to reiterate that getting curious is really important. It's an important skill and tool in your toolbox to not only use when you're working and trying to communicate with other people in those relationships, but also yourself. Get curious about why you might be dragging your feet on something. Get curious about why you're worrying about something.
Absolutely.
Get curious about why you might not be as clear about something as you are in your head, and then go from there. But curiosity really can help you bring down the temperature, be a little more patient, and get more information that can help you navigate things.
Yeah, it helps you drill down to maybe like the root cause.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Great. Do you want to do a quote today?
Sure. Sounds good. Sure.
I haven't done a quote card with you for a while.
All right.
I have that exact same set on my desk at work.
I know you say that every time we pull it out.
Do I really?
Yep.
Well.
Aha, shut you down.
Great. I was just telling you that because I have been pulling a card almost every single day, a new one, just to give me an infusion of energy and inspiration.
All right, I gotta grab one. Ooh. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go first because you went, oh, okay. So I think yours is probably a good one to end on.
Okay.
My card says, friendship is one mind in two bodies by Menius. And so this is interesting to talk about today because I see how that could be, because there's synergy is kind of what I think it's trying to get at, that you are of the same mind, even though you're in two different bodies.
Yeah.
But I do think our topic today, I would caution us to think that our minds are exactly the same, because that is what our episode is kind of encouraging us to do, is that you don't fully know what the other person is thinking.
Yeah.
And that curiosity is an important way to make sure that you can fully understand and not just assuming. So although there's a connection, like this quote indicates, I do think I would challenge a little bit just to dig deeper with curiosity.
Like if we're talking about like you and I and like our friendship, like the more curious we get with each other, the more we know each other.
Yeah.
You know?
So maybe that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah. Okay.
What's yours?
Mine is, treasure this day and treasure yourself. Truly, neither will ever happen again. Ray Bradbury.
I like it.
Me too. Okay, let's get out of here.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you too. Just give me a second.
You know, when you sing, I put it at the end of the episodes, right?